Hi, I'm Gary. I'm the lead artist of Mighty Bear Games, and I am a graduate from NYP Digital Media Design of the year 2004.
Hi, I'm Fadzuli. I'm the CTO at Mighty Bear Games, and I graduated from Digital Entertainment Technology in 2007.
My father introduced me to Amazing Spider-Man when I was like about 7 years old. And ever since, this interest has been snowballing into animation, movies, and video games. So yes, comic book got me started off. And I eventually found a course in NYP, Digital Media Design, which gave me the opportunity to explore these areas of interest.
So I've always been interested in games. I remember the very first game I played was maybe Dungeons and Dragons with my cousins, and that kind of inspired me to like look out for more games, like video games like Menzo Berenzon on a PC. I play a lot of board games in the past, like card games like Magic the Gathering, board games like Settlers of Catan. But when I was younger, I never realized that this could be a career. It always felt like just like a pastime to me. I didn't know that you could like make it a career. So when NYP started the DET course, I immediately wanted to bridge over, and I didn't look back. In DET, I would say that it has given me a very good technical foundation in order to work in games. Also, NYP gave me a lot of opportunities. Like if they didn't invite like the director from CMU to come down and check the course out, and we didn't get to talk to him and eventually apply for a master's program in Carnegie Mellon in the States, I would be a different person from what I am now.
After graduating, I was given the opportunity to do an attachment course overseas. At that point in time, it was called, I think, Training Attachment Program, and I was attached to Lucasfilm in San Francisco. There, I was an environment artist on Star Wars: The Force Unleashed. So I was in a team with a bunch of LucasArts folk creating art and learning the pipeline, and also enjoying the San Francisco culture. And after that, I moved back to Singapore, and I started working at LucasArts Singapore. And from there, I continued my work as a game artist. I moved on from doing 3D environment art towards conceptual art. And there I did concept designs for Star Wars 1313. So besides my stint at LucasArts, I also do freelance for Marvel Comics. That's where I did a bunch of covers for them. I did Iron Man, X-Men, Spider-Man, Guardians of Infinity, and Nova, just to name a few. I did the Marvel covers for a while, and then I dived back into video games, and that's how I met Fadzuli at King. Mm-hmm. And that's when we found that we've got a good working chemistry, and we wanted to work together.
We met at King maybe I think 2 years ago, 3 years,
yeah,
3 years ago. Yeah. And we didn't work on the same project. It was different projects, but we do like because I heard he loved comics, and we just hit it off together. After like 1 year in King, we were acquired by Activision Blizzard, and so they decided to move all the development to Europe. And actually offered like some of the projects to move over to Europe to continue the projects. But we decided that's a great opportunity at that time for us to just strike out on our own and stay in Singapore and create a game company that we all would love to work in. Yeah, with the kind of culture that we want to instill. My biggest responsibility is to make sure that the game is working well. I also have to make sure there are no blockers technically for everyone just to be able to make features for the game.
As art lead at Mighty Bear Games, I work very closely with the art director to create a global vision for the video game and to ensure that the visual of the video games are commercially pleasing.
What I enjoy most about my work is that every day is a different thing. It's a different problem, it's a different thing that I have to solve. I talk to different people. I don't always talk to engineers. Sometimes I talk to Gary, ask him hey, why is this green? Can't it be pink? Sometimes I talk to the designers. Sometimes I talk to the back-end developers. So every day is a different thing, and that's really fun for me.
And well, in terms of art, it's slowly building up the world from the drawing board, bringing the characters into realization and the world into realization. Just seeing that aspect of it and how things shape up in the game, it's a great payoff.
I think firstly, we are a group of people that already know each other very well, at least the core team. The first 8 people, we already worked together for at least 2 years, and some people have even worked before that, not in King, but maybe in LucasArts, you and Ben. We know each other very well, and that makes it easy for us to instill this culture where we are always open to feedback. We expect everyone to be able to give feedback and also to take feedback and improve and do better.
While we encourage that, if we don't expect everybody to have an immediate reaction, so we give them time to form an opinion about the stuff that they like or the stuff that they don't like. It's a growing process.
Yeah, and not only that, but also in order for us to form an opinion, we also need to know about the market. So we do a lot of things internally as a team. For example, we have this thing called Mighty Lunch, where we choose a game every week, and then we play the game together. And after that, we discuss hey, what we like about this game, what we don't like about the game, what do you think we can improve on, or what can we use in another perspective. And with that kind of discussion, then you have a common language that we can discuss our own game about. Yeah.
I think what's unique about us is also the various nationalities we have in there. We've got a designer from Norway, our art director is French.
Yeah, we have our CEO is from UK.
Yes, from the UK.
Our back-end developer, our CIO is from India, but he studied in UK.
Yes, and one of our artists is from Indonesia, and we've got a good mix of, good bunch of Singaporeans in there.
Why we started the company firstly was because there was the opportunity, right? At that time, King was acquired by Activision Blizzard, and they wanted to move all the development over to Europe, but we decided, hey, this is a great time for us. We like working with each other. Let's start our own thing. At the same time, the founders have, and even the first 8 employees, they have a lot of experience working in other bigger companies like LucasArts, like Disney, and we can take what we've seen from those companies and kind of build a culture that we would like to work in here in Singapore, and that's a win for everybody.
Right.
Yeah. What's challenging is that as a founder, I have to wear so many different hats, right? I have to sometimes work on the accounts. I have to know how to set up a company, know what's required, what documents are required, and then I have to meet investors. I have to know about the market. And so in the beginning, there's just so much of this that I had to know. And I had very little time to actually know it, right? So the challenge there was like just digging down and taking the time to read, to learn, to ask questions, to talk to my network, to get to a point where I know what I need to know. Yeah.
At the same time, we are also doing a lot of problem solving, creating these visuals that we think will be suitable for mass appeal. And
you had to create a visual language, right?
Yeah.
Like to tell the story of our game.
Right.
At the same time, also in the future we'll be doing a lot of outsourcing.
Yes.
And this visual language had to be communicated well, like presented in a manner that we can share with people outside the company as well.
We didn't have that much challenges at the beginning. I think challenges arose when our team got bigger and we started to get more new artists in the team. That's when we started to teach what our visual language was to the new artists in the team, and just ensuring consistency with the work that was being created. So apart from us alumni, we recently recruited an artist from SIDM.
Melissa, right?
Melissa, yes, Melissa Lim. She's terrific, really on the ball, go-getter. And among the artists that I've spoken to, she's one of the few that displayed a level of maturity towards handling work and knowing the pipeline for creating art. Yeah, after graduating, while working, I've been back to NYP for a couple of times. I guess a few times I think 2 times for open house, just to talk to kids from primary school and to secondary schools, just talking about what I do and what goes on in the industry.
I've been coming back to NYP to teach. I teach both math for games and also developing games with a 3D engine.
Advice for fresh grads: don't think so much. Everything can be solved. You just need to ask yourself what really works best for you. And I think that's really valuable to always question what's out there, what's possible for yourself. Questioning is good. Dreaming is also good, but yeah.
My advice for a student would be to be open, like to be really open about things that you want to learn, about opportunities that may arise or may not arise. You never know, where doing some things will lead you to. So always be open to learning, always be open to new opportunities, and eventually, people will notice, the hard work that you do, and the good things will come after.
Just the fact that I was able to meet like-minded people, I think, and also create strong bonds with them. Like to this date, after 10 or more years, I'm very close with all of them. To me, that's really, really valuable. Just to kind of share our experience and see each other kind of grow in the industry.
I remember in NYP, in between lectures or tutorials or whatever, there's usually like a lot of time in between. And that time, the class will get into a lot of interesting things. Like, for example, like we'll go for lunch together, and then at that time, I guess a lot of people were very into anime, and so during lunchtime we'll be watching a lot of different animes. We'll be exploring the school together, we'll be playing games together, we'll be talking about games. And during the lessons itself, hey, we were in games, right? We were making 3D things fly around in the screen. This was really exciting for me at that time. Yeah, so it's pretty cool. Mighty Bear Games has been around for close to 2 years already. We had 2 successful rounds of funding. On the second round of funding, we grew from an 8-person team to now we're about 16 to 18-person. Right now, we are working on the first game that we're working on is about to be hard launched beginning of next year. And we've already started working on a second game. And we have plans for a third game in the pipeline. So if things go well, who knows, we may need to scale the team again and hire more people. Well, when I started Mighty Bear Games, I knew that I would be in this for the next 5 years, and that was 2 years ago. So at least for the next 3 years, this Mighty Bear will be what I'll be working on. I am actually looking forward to when the company is a little bit more stable and that I can start to go back to NYP and teach again, because I really enjoy interacting with students, finding out what kind of games they play, what they're interested in. It keeps me alive, I guess, and keeps me like up to date with the trends in the market.
So for me, with our first product, all the characters that I design, I always kind of have I always think about merchandising in mind when I design the characters. So perhaps that is something I would love to explore in the future for Mighty Bear Games.